Hi, I'm Toby Greene, Senior Research Associate with BICOM, and I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our new research paper which asks the question, what would British Middle East policy look like under a Jeremy Corbyn-led Labour government, something that's become a more realistic possibility since the June general election. And of course it's a fascinating question because Corbyn became leader of the Labour Party with a background of 30 years of radical left positions on many issues, including on the Middle East, and including, of course, a fervent hostility towards Zionism and the State of Israel. But the drivers of Labour policy are, of course, more complex than that. For one thing, Corbyn has moderated many of his positions on many issues, including on international affairs, since becoming leader of the party. And indeed, the leadership is increasingly driven to avoid party splits and seek unity with the more centrist elements of the Parliamentary Labour Party, and to build a platform that can appeal to a wider spread of the electorate. So we have to take into account the positions of other members of the Shadow Cabinet, including Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry. Nonetheless, if you look at Corbyn's recent statements on Israel in the Middle East, they still nonetheless signal a radical break with the sorts of policies that have shaped both British Labour and Conservative governments in recent decades, including a much more arm's-length approach from US policies in the region, a much cooler relationship with Israel and with Sunni Arab states, which have been Britain's traditional allies in the region, a much more accommodationist approach to Islamist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, an almost blanket opposition to military intervention, and a much less confrontational approach towards Iran and Russia, which have been seen by British governments up until now as threats to British interests in the region. Now, how all that would play out in practice depends on many factors, both domestic and international, that we just don't have the answers to yet. But nonetheless, given the increasingly real possibility of a Corbyn-led Labour government, it's worth starting to think now about what that might mean for British government policy in the Middle East in practice. So you can read the paper along with BICOM's other research and analysis on Israel and the Middle East at www.bicom.org.uk.